Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong life for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well.
There you go. Morning, team. Morning. Wealth Coffee Chats. Here we go again. I've jumped the gun this morning, team. Sorry, already finished my coffee. I hope you've got a fresh one in front of you. But there you go. Wealth Coffee Chats, team. Wednesday morning, 20th of November. Time is flying. Hope you're all well. Wherever you're tuning in from this morning, give us a bit of a shout out as we get things going this morning. Let me know you're here in the chat. It'd be good to see where you guys are up to on a Wednesday morning. Listen, if you haven't seen me around before, it's your first time tuning in. Yes, this is Wealth Coffee Chats, Property Management Edition, I should say, for a Wednesday morning. My name is Sjostedt, here with the representing the R&W team this morning as part of the 6-star team in that space. Help you keep safe and help you maintain your wealth, which is part of that challenge through this holding phase of your investment journey. So. That's who I am. Hopefully I see a few of you guys in the chat. I can see that already. Bunty, morning to you, and Luke. G'day, mate. Hope you guys are well. Good stuff, team. Well, Wednesday morning, what are we going to talk about? Had a few suggestions on what we should do. And this morning, when I find my topic, team, it's a bit slow on the tech this morning. Should I Airbnb my investment property? And if you do, and if you want to, what you should know about it. So I'd love to hear from you guys to start. Is anyone here holding an investment property that they, as part of their strategy, generate revenue via short stay means? Maybe you've got some corporate stays. Maybe you, advertise your property on Airbnb, Booking.com, these sorts of portals. I'd love to hear any feedback or thoughts on that if you do have a property in that space, or maybe you're thinking about it. Anyone thinking about potentially whacking their property on down the short stay route? Anyone interested in that? Because I thought I'd give you a bit of a rundown. I had about 18 months experience in this space and learned a thing or two, what to do and some of those, what not to do. So I thought I'd share that with you guys this morning. I don't think we've spoken a lot about the short stay stuff. There's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of different strategies when it comes to short staying your property. And, one of the big advantages or the big pro that people get attracted to is the increased revenue. So maybe we'll see if that's, a fact or if that's just a myth, whether, you just short stay your property and you do get more revenue. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. So I've got about 5 or 6 things I can share this morning with you, team, in that space about maybe what you might need to know. So, team, anyone with investment property that's Airbnb that at the moment, or anyone thinking about that, pop that in the chat for me. If not, that's cool. Anyone want to find out about the 5, 6 things you want to know as well? Might be helpful. You might be, looking to purchase that next property into your portfolio and look down this path. So let's have a bit of a conversation about that. So whilst you guys think of maybe a few questions in the throughout this morning, of course, put that in the chat. I'm going to whack my email up at the bottom. I'll let that tinker across the bottom for the rest of the conversation team. But let's get into it. Morning, Chris. Good to see you here. Good stuff. All right, team. So you want to Airbnb your property? What's involved? What do you need to know? Is it as easy as just getting increased revenue and it's happy days? Well, for sometimes, yes, that is the outcome and it is fine. But there's, like I say, 5 or 6 things you need to know. So number one, what you guys need to know if you are considering putting your property via the short stay route, you need to, number one, get an appraisal and look at revenue projections. Yes, that sounds quite simple. It sounds quite obvious, but here's how it works, team. If you've got a property right now and you're looking to rent it out long term, you can sort of look at market data and you can generate a figure, as we've spoken about here at Wealth Coffee Chats. However, when you get to the short stay route, there can be fluctuations in the marketplace. And what I have found and what I still continue to see is obviously month to month, those monthly revenue numbers, those monthly revenue targets can change depending on market conditions. So no different than in the long-term play, however, can fluctuate a little bit more. Why is that so? Well, when you look at Airbnb your property, team, you've got to look at this from an annual revenue perspective and not from a month-to-month perspective. Why? Because the average, so what happens is it works off average nightly rates and it takes into consideration occupancy rates, right? The more the property is occupied, the more revenue you will generate, right? Fairly simple when we talk about it like that. But what I want you guys to understand is when you do these revenue projections, do have a perspective or come into it with an open mind to look at that revenue projection across a 12-month period and not month to month, because what we do know to be true is some months are better than others, right? Now, this is going to fluctuate depending on where your property is located. The location of your property is heavily going to influence what that revenue looks like on your property. So number one, revenue projections, get it right, talk to an expert. Number two, setup. Your setup investment team is probably something I think a lot of owners, a lot of short stay property managers will misunderstand or miscommunicate and not take these level of investment and costs and dollars in your pocket, out of your pocket to understand what's actually going on. So when we talk setup, team, what are we talking about, right? We've got a vacant property. Think about the last time you stayed at an Airbnb short stay home. Right, it was an experience. So the first thing we need to do is probably get some furniture into the property, right? So obviously, depending on the size of your home, will depend on the investment required when it comes to furniture packages. Now, you could spend 15, 20. We've done packages up to $30,000, right? It's a significant investment for you to get up and running, right? So number one, you got some furniture packaging costs there. You got to think of other things too as well, team, about that guest experience, Wi-Fi, utilities. How many keys do you need, right? We've got to create as less friction in this experience. It's almost like you as the investor, you as the landlord, you're actually entering this hotel accommodation world, right? You're providing a service, you're providing an experience, and you're using your property to do so, and therefore you can generate the revenue off the back of that. So number two, have a clear understanding on your setup investment team when you are looking at that. So now that you understand setup, now you understand revenue projections, depending on where your property is located, you can start to get an idea on the dollars and cents. Same concept of what you guys look at when you do your cash flow on a long-term project property, right? Number three, ramp up period. I feel like no one talks about this. Does anyone know what I'm talking about when I talk about ramp up periods? When we're talking short stay specifically. Ramp up periods, what is that about? Should we know about it? Should we just disengage and then not talk about it? Potentially. Morning, Sonia. Morning to you. Thanks for jumping on. Ramp up period, team. So I'll tell you how it works. You've got your property. You're going to list it on Airbnb, and I'll just use that as the website because it's kind of familiar to everyone around the world. Airbnb make their money and get paid per booking, right? Let's understand that for a moment. So Airbnb their platform where properties are advertised get paid per booking submitted each and every time, and there's a percentage of what they earn. Right now, that Airbnb platform, that Airbnb advertisement space, and the algorithm loves properties with 5-star reviews. Now, why might they like properties with 5-star reviews? Well, it gets more bookings, right? So if they're promoting the 5-star properties, the properties that have a great experience, that properties that are providing great access, and an overall feel to it, then people are going to give those 5-star reviews. Therefore, they want to promote them so they can make more money. Essentially, that's how it works. Now, if you've got a property in your day one of advertising that for a guest, you've probably got 0 bookings and you're at a 0 rating, right? Because we haven't had any bookings yet. So what do we got to do about this? So this is where this ramp up period of 2 to 3 months from day one to sort of starting to see some revenue come through the door. Now, what we found is if, as an example, if the average nightly rate was $200 a night, potentially not having any bookings or ratings, advertising at $200 a night may not be the best strategy for that ramp up period, that first quarter, let's say. Why might that be? Well, maybe your property's not standing out. Maybe your property's not being seen by potential guests on these major portals, right? Which means no bookings, no revenue, right, team? You guys get that. So potentially we're going to look at some strategies to maybe lower our nightly rate for the first 2 to 3 months in that ramp up period, and obviously try to get some bookings, right? Once we get some bookings over that first quarter, we're going to create a really good experience. We're going to get the 5-star reviews. We're going to treat these guests like kings. And then once you've got some 5-star reviews, the platform and the algorithm will start to kick in. And what you'll find, team, is then at the 6 month mark, you're then increasing your prices. So a little bit of a tip there if you're looking to do it. That's kind of how Airbnb works in a very simple way to explain that. Hopefully I explained that properly. But yes, there are algorithms involved. You guys know how it works. Number 4, landlord's insurance. You can get specific short stay landlord's insurance, team. So don't let anyone tell you you can't. You can. It does cover loss of rent when there's damages. It does cover flood, fire, and storm damage and things like that. A lot of the cover is relative to what your current policies would be when we're talking long term. So short stay specific landlord's insurance does exist. We got to get it, definitely, because I can tell you, there's been times where you think professional couples is staying over the weekend, and next minute there's a party. So things happen in the short stay well, team. Be prepared. Number 5, have a medium to long term approach on this. Unless you've got a beach house investment, right, that is located really well and it's going to absolutely outperform over a 3-4 month period over summer, right, on the coast somewhere. That might be the out of the ordinary. If you've got a 1, 2, 3-bedroom apartment in a city in metro cities, then potentially you've got to have a longer term approach. We've just gone through and rattled off some setup costs. We've just rattled through ramp up period. So we could be talking about a 2-3 month period of less revenue coming in the door, which means we've got to have buffers in place. We've got to manage our cash flow. So on a rough sort of estimate, I suppose, to break even on this sort of stuff can take 12 months of revenue to get your bookings going, to get your 5-star ratings, to get that revenue up for you to sort of find a break even point on your investment, right? We're looking for a return on investment from day one. How long is it going to take? Now, from my experience, it's been about 12 months, give or take, again, depending on what you are investing. But I've certainly seen, clients, here's what you don't do is don't lose out on patience. Definitely stick to your process. If you've set a plan, stick to it, team, because otherwise I've seen properties sort of get out of the short stay space within 6 months and it doesn't quite work. So number 5, medium to long-term approach, team. Chat with your advisor, obviously, around that and whether that suits your strategy. And number 6, certainly check your council and state regulations. I can tell you this, team, there is no statewide approach. There should be. That's my opinion. However, you know what it's like when it comes to politicians and getting things done. Sometimes each council has their own, perspective of how this should be run. Go look at Byron Bay Council for a moment. They think that people Airbnb in their home is causing the supply issue. That's rubbish. You guys know that. I know that. But hey, this is the perspective of these local councils. It would be great if the state government had a wide approach and took control of it. That'd be nice. maybe one day. And obviously with that team as well, when you're short staying your property, you do need to, in certain states, get registered. You do need to pay that fee. January 1, 2025, Victoria's going to have a 7.5% levy. So there are some things in place to be aware of when it comes to, short staying your investment property. So team, I thought I'd just share something different this morning, a different way of generating rent and generating revenue, different to the traditional means. Now, this is not for everyone. There's certainly, from my perspective and belief, for what I've seen and experienced, you as the investor, I think there's an element of, where your strategy and mindset is at, because we've got to have a level of patience and be able to stick to the process when we do this, if we want it to be done really well for the medium to long term. And on the other side, obviously, it's dollars and cents, team. We've got to really, really hone in those, revenue projections and investment to make sure you actually get a return. Otherwise, you might be just better off renting it out in the long term and getting that stability, team. So, maybe it's risk reward, maybe lots of potentially a lot of objections and challenges to get through there. But if you do it really well, there can be light at the end of the tunnel, team. So I know a lot of clients who are doing this very successfully, team. So just a couple of things that for you guys need to know. Chris says, yeah, absolutely. You've got to have some buffers in place to help with your patience. I couldn't have said it better myself, Chris. So thank you for that information and that tip for everyone this morning. Super, super helpful. So that's it, team, for me this morning, 8:27. I'm going to sign off a couple of minutes early. You guys have a lovely Wednesday. As always, any topics you want to unpack and discover, please shoot me an email. Happy to jump online and get your engagement, get you guys involved. As always, you guys enjoy your day. Hopefully it's not raining where you are, because it is where I am. And don't forget, 8:10 Queensland time tomorrow, Wealth Coffee Chats will be back, and you can jump on and don't forget all those podcasts. Give them a download and listen. All right, team, that's it. Over and out. Catch you later.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.